say you want to host a drag time story hour with 7-year-olds. You obviously can use your public library for that, but you can't read a book about God at a public library. And the actor Kirk Cameron just learned that. Dozens of public libraries refused to give him a slot to speak to kids about his new faith-based book called As You Grow. One Rhode Island library told him, quote, "We are a very queer-friendly library. Our messaging does not align." Okay, Kirk Cameron joins us tonight. Kirk, thanks so much for coming on. So they wouldn't let you read this book? This book was banned in libraries? How controversial is this book?
Well, it's a book that teaches biblical wisdom through the seasons of life to children and the value of growing the fruit of the Spirit, like love, joy, kindness, patience, gentleness, self-control. And I wanted to do a book reading at a public library, and I was denied by over 50 woke libraries that have hosted drag queen story hours. One of the most outrageous denials was Alameda County Public Library that said they didn't want that book teaching kids biblical values, while at the same time they're hosting a gender name change clinic tomorrow. And I'm thinking, wow, if we're so committed to diversity, why am I being excluded? Why can't I use your facility to read my book? You're a library.
Well, yeah. So we began the show with a story about how the president of Ukraine has banned a Christian religion in Ukraine. And then we get to your story where the libraries ban your book. So the thread here appears to be fear and hatred of Christianity. Why do you think a religion based on peace and tolerance, turning the other cheek, not showing vengeance, is so scary?
Well, my understanding of history is that the family and the church are two great pillars of Western civilization. And those two things need to be removed and taken out of the way in order to fundamentally change the power structure and the moral value code of the nation. And that's why parents are fighting back. In fact, Tucker, hundreds of parents and librarians are now emailing us saying, we want your book and we want to host our own Brave Book Story Hour in our public library. So here's my call to action. I want every parent and every grandparent in America to get their favorite children's storybook, my book or other Brave books, or a book of the Bible. Call your local public library that has hosted a drag queen story hour and say, I'd like the chance to read my book in the library. And if they say no, they're likely breaking the law and violating the Constitution, and they can contact bravebooks.com. We'll give them free books and all that they need to turn that denial into a revival in their community.
Hello, everyone, and what's on tap for today? Well, as you can certainly see here, it's Kirk Cameron, folks. Remember Growing Pains? That's right. The child actor from the 80s has all grown up. He's a father of 6, 4 of whom are adopted, and he's got a bunch of books that he's written. The latest one is As You Grow. It's got some biblical principles in there. It's not overtly religious, I don't think, by any means, but he was trying to have a book reading at libraries. He's out in California. He contacted libraries out there. 50 of them said, sorry, we don't want to read your book. But they were allowing LGBTQIA days and transgender reading book days. So he was shocked and surprised. Anyways, we're going to get into all of that today on today's show. I'm going to give you my idea of what's basically behind all of this. And if you haven't already done so, we'd certainly like you to subscribe. You're watching the Dr. Nasir Shaikh Show. I'm your guest host today. My name is Dr. Shaikh. And you know what, folks? I'm going to talk a little bit about what sort of the background material is and what's going on. And then we're going to go through a little bit of that, a few minutes. And then I want you to stick around because there's another unbelievably great video that Kirk has put together. And it's about parents that really never in their wildest dreams ever thought that they would try to homeschool their kids. I mean, they were completely against it. It's amazing. You see this video. It's only about a couple of minutes long. But then when they have children or when they find out when their kids are going to school, they're like going, oh my goodness, we can't send our kids and have them learn that kind of stuff. That's not in, what our principles align with. That's not our values. We got to homeschool. So it's a great little video. after we come back from the video, I'm going to show you some pictures, folks, of these libraries, these woke libraries, having gender queer hours. And there's, some people have got, maybe there's 30, 40, 50 people like in the picture, but they're saying, oh, we don't want to have Kirk, your book out there, Kirk Cameron, because we don't know how many people you're going to get. Who cares, even if they get one person or nobody? It's no skin off anybody's back, but we're going to do that. We're going to, in fact, you know what? Let's go with some of the background material here. So here you got it. Growing pains. He's banned, folks, from reading Christian books at more than 50 libraries. And these are publicly funded libraries. They feel that the library's messaging, they feel, doesn't align with the progressive values. And as he says before, we're getting destroyed in the battle for the hearts and minds of our children. You know that, folks. You know exactly what's going on. Look at this here. As we said, in recent years, libraries have come under fire. We know this story. They're promoting drag queens and other LGBTQIA plus centric story hours, but nothing for traditional books, whether they be religious in nature or non-religious in nature, fiction or nonfiction. If they have a hint of anything that's religious or has spirituality, forget about it. We don't want it. Unless, of course, it's a LGBTQIA gender book that may have some of that inside there. Then it's okay. And his book, as he said, As You Grow, it's just trying to teach love, joy, peace, kindness, patience, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, self-control. All the things that we certainly don't want to inculcate in our children or in the community or in the public at large. Oh, we certainly don't want any love or joy or peace or patience or kindness or goodness or gentleness. None of that. We want the other stuff, but none of this stuff, because this stuff is bad. Anyways, let's see here. Let me go down. Oh, there's some pictures. Well, you know what? Let's cut to the video of this, folks, and you're going to be amazed. Okay, so we're going to cut to that, and we're going to come back, go through some of these pictures at these libraries. Oh, you're going to be absolutely, well, I don't know if you'll be shocked, maybe amazed, or maybe you'll say it's just par for the course, but we're going to be right back, folks. Okay, we're going to cut to that video right now.
Hey, it's Kirk Cameron. I want to share some exciting news. For 2.5 years, I've been working on a project that I am very passionate about, and I believe America needs to see right now. It's called The Homeschool Awakening, and it's going to be in movie theaters June 13th and 14th only. I want to show you a sneak peek, and stay tuned.
We have to break through our kind of private idea that kids belong to their parents.
I don't think parents should be telling schools what they should teach.
I don't really understand this idea that parents should decide what's being taught.
Give me a break.
I always viewed homeschooling as somewhat of a cult.
Quiet, reclusive.
The different people.
Abnormal in some way.
I could never picture myself doing it.
Oh no, those are weird. I'm not doing that.
That was before we had kids. And then we had kids, and
all of a sudden, time for school, and is this really what I should be doing? Dropping them off somewhere else.
And the teacher said to me, he would not cheat off of you because you are too stupid for him to cheat off of you. My kid is not going to have that experience.
We didn't have to be a special needs teacher. We only had to be a teacher of our daughter.
The kingdom of heaven is qualifying you to speak into your children's life.
I'm responsible for what we're putting into their head and into their heart.
It changed everything.
I think as a kid, you just want to feel like you're worth it. And homeschooling says you're worth it.
I made this movie because I care deeply about my children, and I care about your children and about their future and the future of our country.
Since the pandemic, we've been made grossly aware of the inaccurate and the immoral things that the public school system has been teaching our children and our grandchildren. And it's up to us as parents to cultivate the hearts and minds and souls of our children toward what is good, toward what is right, beautiful, and true.
So it was a powerful trailer for that movie that Kirk Cameron is putting it out. And you saw there, those parents, never in their wildest dreams thought that they were going to be homeschooling. But anyways, I'm sure there's going to be more publicity out there. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to be against that movie. They're going to be saying it's, the typical stuff that comes out from the left, the progressive, the moderates, the Democrats, the mainstream media, academia, the hypocrites in Hollywood. They're just going to absolutely, completely try to destroy the just the goodness of that movie and just try to put it in the worst light possible. You know what they're going to do, folks. This is the playbook that they always play from. Anyways, as I promised you before, here's Drag Queen Story Hour from a guy, dressed up as a woman reading to... Now, here's the thing, though. Isn't it amazing? Isn't this amazing, folks, that you can have the pictures and the adults out there, but you can read to a child these books. But when you publish the pictures, you've got to hide the faces of the children because they're under 18, but you can read to them. I mean, isn't that just absolutely unbelievable? And so, so maybe there's a crowd of what? These rooms probably don't hold more than 40, 50 people. This isn't going into a stadium where 80,000 people are, sitting down for a reading. But 30, 40 people, these are small little libraries. They've got a little reading room there. And for them to say, well, to Kirk, we don't know how many people you get, it's not up to them. We talked about that before. Anyway, so let's move forward here. Let's see what I wanted to talk about. So anyways, Brave Books, which is the company that's publishing this, said that they went to in Providence, Rhode Island, told the publisher, we will pass on having her run a program in our space. Said, we're a very queer-friendly library. I didn't even know libraries were supposed to be queer-friendly. I thought they're just supposed to be book-friendly, right? People-friendly. I didn't know that there was a diversity qualification to be a member of a library. They are bigoting, they are being racist, they are discriminating. And it says their messaging doesn't align with the book. So the employee said, you can fill out the form to reserve the space to run the program, but we won't run your program. It says they regularly host a program called Queer Umbrella. Queer Umbrella. I guess what? If it's raining? I don't know. Club safe space where teens can learn. That's fine. Have all that stuff. We're not saying don't have it. We're just saying that you've got to accommodate. If, for example, they were having a book reading and it was on whatever you thought it was, whether it had a little religious connotation to it or a spiritual connotation to it, and somebody came from another community, another community or within the community and said, we want to have a queer reading book, and you said no, I would be saying the same exact thing. You've got to allow in the public square equal access. What if, for example, we've talked about this before in the show, right? The Satan Club was coming in New Jersey, and they've got Satan clubs and, popping up all over at elementary schools and high schools and junior high schools, right? They're coming out there. What do? They find out it's a public square. Their place is rented out by the high school, and they rent it out to a Christian club or a Jewish club or a Hindu club or a Muslim club, whatever it is, spiritual club. And everybody gets up in arms when they say, oh, the Satan Club needs access too. Well, folks, that's the way it is. That's the law. That's what's got to happen. San Diego Public Library told them what? It isn't something that we would do because our diverse community. I don't know how many people you would get, said the library representative. The library does host a teen queer book club and a range of other LGBTQIA events. Same thing, San Lorenzo Public Library in Alameda County told Brave, not interested in the book, But they did host a legal clinic for individuals interested in completing name and gender marker change, court paperwork, updating their identity documents for driver's licenses, IDs, passports, social security cards. And the event was part of its Every Month is a Pride Month series. Well, here's the book. It's really forbidden, right? That book just screams at you. It just screams terrible stuff, doesn't it? That's what it does. This book shows a tree with some leaves, nice trunk, some houses in there and everything, some acorns, nice little, animals over here. That's just scary stuff, baby. That's just scary stuff for the library and for people in the community. Here's a picture from, this was people attending that legal event. I mean, what, they got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, what, maybe 10, 15 people here? And they're saying, you can't do, this is just unbelievable. And it goes on, the Indianapolis Public Library did not comport with a strategic plan. That book, they got a comport, folks. The Indianapolis Public Library's got a comport with a strategic plan to promote diverse authors. Generally, when we have author visits, these are coordinated through our departments. We really have a push. We have a strategic plan in place. So we are really looking at authors who are diverse, authors of color. There's really been our focus, is what an employee told Brave Books. When they pointed out that Cameron's book contributes to a diversity of ideas, the library said, we're focusing on racial equity. Oh, equity. Now it says public fund libraries, they are green lighting gender marker and name change clinics, as we talked about. And this is what we know, folks. The woke understands morality is instilled. I think it's instilled much earlier than the age of 10. And they want their morality, which we feel is immorality. They don't want the morality of the Bible, or morality of any other religious teaching at all, whether it's secular or non-secular. They don't want that. Now, the reason here is that most of the public libraries are funded by local governments. Small portion come from the federal government's grants and donations. So that's what the story is, folks. Going on here. We know we're always constantly, being on the defensive on these kind of things because the mainstream media has their narrative. The the hypocrites in Hollywood have their narrative. The academic institutions, which are completely far left, they've got their narrative. Then you've got our kindergarten schools, our elementary schools, our junior high schools, our high schools, even our, as we said, our colleges, university. They are spitting out leftist, progressive, socialist, Marxists all the time. How many times have you seen it yourself? Maybe it's happened in your family that you've got a son or daughter. You hear the story. The parents are absolutely crying. The grandparents are absolutely stunned. They're crying. Why? Because they sent off, John or Sally to college, and they were nice young conservatives, or they thought they were instilled their conservative thought in their children. After one semester, they come back and they're raving leftists at the Thanksgiving dinner table, and you're going, what the heck happened? What? What happened to my sweet little boy or girl? That's what happens, folks. You've got to instill those conservative values in the children, okay? You've got to talk to them about these issues at an early age. You've got to do it. If you don't, you're going to lose your kids, folks. You're going to lose them. Anyways, we appreciate the time you spent here watching our video. If you haven't already done so, first time here, even if you've been here before, but you just haven't been able to subscribe to the channel, I ask you, why not? Come on, it's free. Subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when our other content's up there. Like and share our videos. You know what the algorithms do for YouTube. We'd really, really appreciate it. And I'll leave you with my final thought, folks, and that is the following. When you're right, and when you're left, oh man, those guys are wrong. We'll see you again next time. Take care and stay safe.